Welcome back to another episode of Publicized Theory, the positive frequency that you tap into every Friday, the place and space where we are involved in self mastery, self development, and overall the desire to become the best version of ourselves. This episode is another great episode because I will be talking about winning our inner battles, how those inner battles can plague us day in and day out, how those inner battles really tend to hold us down, hold us back, and does not allow us to flourish and accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. Now, many of you may have heard this quote before. It's a quote that is widely used in many ways, and the quote is, I keep my friends close, but I keep my enemies closer. Now, I bring up that quote because in life, in our inner battles, we need to know our enemy. What I mean by that is we need to understand the fear that we have, which in many ways is our enemy. Now, it's completely natural to feel fear as a human being. If we didn't have fear, if we didn't have that, in many ways, sixth sense or that intuition, we would probably not be here right now. Because back in the day, if hunters and gatherers felt fear and kind of felt something lurking in the wilderness, they would have backed away or retreated. And it's that same fear in those situations that helped them. But let's be honest, it's the 21st century. We are not hunters and gatherers. We do not have as much looming threats out there as there were in the past. But that does not mean that fear still doesn't manifest itself in other areas. Now, our brain doesn't really distinguish fear in any particular category. Fear at the end of the day is fear, whether it's fear of failure, whether it's fear of not achieving your goals or not becoming the person you want to be, whether it's walking outside and feeling fearful of your surroundings. At the end of the day, fear to the brain and the mind is fear. Now, knowing your enemy, in this case, fear, is in many ways trying to know you, understanding that who are you? Who are you as a person? And how can you know yourself better? Questions like, what am I good at? What am I bad at? What makes me tired? What relaxes me? How much do I need to sleep at night? What type of person do I want to be? What type of friend do I want to be? What do I think about myself? What things do I value in life? And there's more questions that you can ask yourself. But those are just some that I thought about that can help you get to know who you are better. And figuring out who you are as a person or as a friend or as a brother, as a sister, as a cousin, you name it, in many ways, that allows us to create solutions and find ways to become that person. And when we gradually become that person that we want to be or that we already are, in many ways, fear has to retreat because with understanding who you are comes a level of confidence that cannot live with fear. Because in many ways, if you're confident about who you are, if you're confident in your capabilities, if you're confident in achieving your goals, can fear creep in at times? Of course. But the root of who you are in being confident is what will override that fear. And a lot of the times we may not know or may not have answered the questions that I just posed. It takes a lot of self reflection and, digging deeper into who we are as a person and unpacking everything that we've been through or unpacking the lives that we lived, unpacking situations where we felt negative emotions, unpacking friendships and relationships that either one made us a better person or two took something from us that we feel like we never can feel or get again. A lot of the times we need to ask ourselves these questions because we need to understand the person that we're dealing with. And the person that we deal with every day is the person that you see in the mirror. And most of the time, when we answer those questions what comes next is taking responsibility for obviously how we feel, taking responsibility of our lives, taking responsibility over the next steps once we've have those answers. And a lot of the times this allows us to understand that we do not have to throw in the towel on our dreams. We don't. We have so much potential. We have so much ahead of us. We have so much to look forward to because even if we're not where we are right now, that means that tomorrow, when we wake up, we have an opportunity to get better. We have an opportunity to get one step closer. And I think many of us look at not being where we are as a downfall, as something to feel bad about, when in actuality, it's an opportunity. And I spoke about this in a previous episode where we all can cultivate an opportunistic mindset. That mindset will only see opportunities. If we're not where we want to be today, well, damn, okay, I got an opportunity to get better tomorrow, and so on and so forth. And I think a lot of the inner battles, as I said, is rooted in fear. But a lot of the steps that we can take in answering those questions and understanding who we are and taking responsibility is aimed at eliminating that fear, is aimed at making sure that one, we feel confident, two, we understand that we only can control what we can control, and three, life is not something that you really figure out. Life is not right or wrong. It's simply your life and what you do every day to own it. Many times we are looking for the right way or trying to find the right answer, and the right answer may not always present itself. We'll be wrong sometimes. But that's the thing about life. Life is, like I said, it's not something that you figure out. It's not something that you're right at. It's your life and you do it everything in your power every day to own it, to make it the life that you want. For me, the fear of giving into normality is something that you should be afraid of because what is normal right now? In many ways, it seems like normal is stress, anxiety, depression, and a whole host of other emotions that I know you and I do not want to feel day in and day out. But at the same time, once we take responsibility, once we understand our enemy, once we do things on a daily basis to combat our enemy and we make ourselves stronger and we make ourselves more powerful and we adjust our mindset in understanding that we're always in control and we demand to be in control because it's our life. And every day we have to say no to fear. We have to say no to fear. We cannot allow fear to dictate how far we go, to dictate where we go, to dictate what we do, to dictate what we accomplish, to dictate how much we make, because it will if we allow it to. And winning those inner battles that tell you can't, that tell you won't, that tell you it's impossible. Every day, build your confidence. Look at core areas where you're weak. Build your skill sets. Become the asset. A lot of the episodes really are complementary because it all revolves around becoming better, mastering ourselves, developing the mindset, the persona, if you will, of feeling unstoppable, of feeling powerful, of feeling in control. And fear takes away some of that control every time we give into it because we're letting it dictate the life that we live when it's actually us that's living the life. So I pose another question to you before I end this episode. What are you afraid of? What is keeping you up at night? What is holding you back right now? And once you answer that question, once you take a deep dive into who you are and getting to understand yourself better, asking yourself some of those questions I spoke about earlier. The next step is taking responsibility, creating a plan, understanding that you're always in control, and looking for ways to combat that day in and day out. It could be little things. It could be positive affirmations all throughout your house. It could be journaling. It could be listening to music, whatever it is. Some days will be easier, other days will be tough. But at the end of the day, never give up your power, never give up your control, and never give in to fear. Feeling fear, like I said earlier, is natural. So think about that over the weekend. Ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Ask yourself questions that are aimed to get to know yourself better. And ask yourself those questions with the goal of just trying to understand yourself more and trying to see what inner battles that you're struggling with right now that you can overcome, that you can fight back on, that you can finally eliminate so that you can move on and that you can thrive and that you can live your best life. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. If you thoroughly enjoyed this episode, please leave me some feedback, rate, review, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a great weekend. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed.